What is happening, Internet? How's everybody doing? Welcome to Mario Kart, I don't even remember what episode this is. 53, I believe, of the Road to Mario Kart World. This is MK8. We're still doing the booster passes. Only 30 people here, so make sure, guys, you try to like and share. I don't know why anybody's not here. We advertised. The newsletter is out. Thank you, Leo the Conqueror, for 2 super chats. That really does help out a lot. We need $1,000. Yeah, that'd be nice. Not gonna happen. But, does anybody remember where we were yesterday? We were on 100 cc's, and we were doing, I can't remember. I left out on something yesterday. Let me double check stuff.
All I remember it was your funky.
No, it was, yeah, it was Funky Kong last night. But there was a particular, I think probably because the shorts didn't do well. Where is it? Funky. The last course was Boomerang. So we didn't finish Boomerang, so we need to go back to do Boomerang with this gentleman here. Try Bowser. We're gonna rock the bike, because the bike seems to work pretty well. And we were on this. There. Okay.
Honey, when does the Nintendo Switch 2 come out again?
Nintendo Switch 2 is less than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days. 12 days till hopefully things turn around for this channel. Thank you very much for the super chat. Or the sticker chat? I don't know why.
Thank you, Azure Robo. Thank you so much for your help. This is our first super chat in a live stream. Thank you so much, and thank you, Leo the Conqueror, for 2 super chats.
I can't.
With a slice of pizza, and we want a Kwings stream. And another one for Leo the Conqueror. Thank you so much for your help, Leo the Conqueror. Leo the Conqueror again, Azure Robot, and Leo the Conqueror. Thank you so much for the help, everyone.
Thank you guys and girls.
You guys are breathtaking. Thank you so much.
Alright, so, just so you guys know, heads up, like, if we don't get more people in here, we'll have to take scheduled stream breaks, which is, you know, very common over on Twitch, but we'll have to do whatever we can to push for 1,000 views on this stream, so that there can be another Mario Kart stream tomorrow. Right now there's about 40 people at like 350 views after an hour and 6 minutes, which is amazingly almost 200 views below yesterday's insane 4-hour fantasy live stream. 4-hour and 45 minutes stream, actually. But we can cut the musical breaks out of the stream, so that if you guys watch the stream back, or when you watch the stream back, there's no long musical breaks, and no musical startup, and no musical breaks. But we, just so you know, we have to do whatever we can to keep this channel alive. And you guys can always help that by watching the YouTube shorts, super chats, all that good stuff. In fact, I saw Vic earlier. Vic, if you could post the 8 a.m. super chat, or 8 a.m. short is still under 1,000 views. I think it's at like 600 views. Could be part of the reason why we're getting a penalty almost 12 hours later. And the funny thing is I did everything I was supposed to with that Akuma short.
That Akuma short was great.
Yeah, May 28th Akuma is coming into Monster Hunter, which is kind of a big deal. Yeah, we're just kind of rocking things. Yes. Undead Bowser. Uh-oh. Nope.
And thank you so much, again, Leo the Conqueror, for 3 super chats, and thank you, Azure Robo, for the super chat. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for helping the channel.
This channel would not survive without fan funding, because we don't really get ad revenue anymore. They make it too hard to get ad revenue. Amber and I have to jump through an insane amount of hoops every day, and it's very draining. It really is. And we don't bot like other streamers, so we're kind of in a pickle.
I like the music breaks because I do like the music. LOL. So you guys have to do what you have to do.
Yeah. You like the music breaks? That's good.
Also,
yeah,
longboard guy.
The music is our old cover band.
Hi,
So.
hi Tim Moeller. Hi Later Gator. Hi Captain Zach. Hi Timmy. Hi Shadow Trooper. Hi Sonic, hi OHX90, hi Captain Zach, hi Azure Robo. Thank you again for the super chat. Thanks again, Leo the Conqueror. Says we want a Kwings stream and Kwings. And he said another one. Thank you so much. Hi Sonic, hi, thank you. Said you guys are strong. Thank you, Sonic. Hi Rebel Fleet Trooper, hi Shadow Trooper, hi Jacob Langlet. Hello, Shadow Trooper, and hi, Blues Cat. Hello, Timmy. Hi, Later Gator. Oh. I'm excited for Marvel Rivals this weekend. He will be the first flying healer. Oh, when is he coming out again, Ultron?
Probably tomorrow.
Oh my god.
I have an Ultron YouTube short.
Hang in there, Lucanever. You are strong. It's okay. I'm not gonna take.
I don't know if I'd say strong. We're just resilient. It's very hard to stream for only to have energy for only 40 people after so many hours. It doesn't. Also, people make fun of us for having so little people watching us. It's hard not to hear dead channel and all this other stuff. And your haters use your low views as a way to tear you down. When it's not that people decided not to watch us with shadow bans, so it's tough. Thank you, Mr. Robo. Every little bit helps. Did I just turn up the music? I can't tell.
I can turn it up. One off the TV.
Oh. Let's go, Mr. Bowser.
So, yeah, Luke made a really fun Akuma short today, and Twitter really wasn't working that well this morning.
Well, Twitter was having problems yesterday with the DM system was busted. So today they had a problem with the search engine stuff. Which probably explains why the short didn't do well. So, as I've told you guys before, with brand new YouTube shorts, YouTube doesn't really care about views, they care about click ratio. So it has to do with how often you click the short. So what's happening again is people are misunderstanding and they're watching the short, and it's you just have to open it. It's all based on clicks. So we did have 500 people watch it, but we only had 500 clicks in total. So.
Okay, Luke. I can look for the short and try to get it in the chat in just a minute.
It's there in the shorts playlist. People just have to click the shorts playlist. I posted it before this race. Okay.
Yeah, if you guys are able to click on the Akuma short a couple of times, like even 10 times or something, that would help out a lot. You don't even have to watch it all the way through.
Yeah, thanks, Captain Zach. But yeah, so again, with so few people here, guys, we're gonna do two cups in a row and take a break. and do another 2 cups. We're gonna have to do whatever we can to force like viewership and views on this, because right now we're at about an hour and 13 minutes, and YouTube's tracking about 400 views for this stream. YouTubers need 1,000 views in order for a stream to do well, so it's gonna be I never imagined that this would be a tough battle with Mario Kart of all things. I thought this would be an easy fix to yesterday's fantasy life. But I guess I was wrong. I try to plan things out as best I can, and it just doesn't work. Very, very upsetting. I had fun with last night's mystery stream though.
Yeah, what was the mystery stream last time?
Rival Schools 2, Project Justice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got stuck fighting budget Sephiroth there for quite a while.
Rival Schools, that sounds like almost like River City Girls or something like that.
Kind of. It's like Capcom's equivalent to like delinquent fighting games. They're all high school kids, and they come from different schools, and they fight. So it's like delinquents from other schools that end up fighting people. It's made by the people who brought you like Street Fighter and stuff like that. Except it's a little bit different. There was never an anime made. There was a manga later on. But there was only 2 games. And then you had different characters pop up. Well, 2 of the characters popped up in some other Capcom games. The one guy in the blue school uniform showed up in Katsunoko vs. Capcom on Wii. And the guy in the white uniform showed up in like a Capcom vs. SNK game, I believe.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's about it. And the female version of the character, like, who is, she's basically like the Chun-Li and the Sakura of the franchise. She's never shown up in a cameo in another fighting game that we know of. But the director of the game said he wanted to make a Rival Schools 3 in 2013, and Capcom told him, oh yeah, eventually you'll get to do it. And then last year, he quit Capcom. They kept putting him on other projects that he didn't want to do, and so now we'll never get a Rival Schools 3. Because...
Oh, sadness.
Or, you know what, we could still get a Rival Schools 3. They could do what Capcom did when Mega Man's dad quit. They made Mega Man 11 after he left, so...
That's what I was thinking about. That kind of sounds like what happened to Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sounds like Capcom does that to a lot of people, or at least 2 people.
The only franchise and creators that they're really nice to is Street Fighter. The guy who does Street Fighter, they're very kind to. They let him do whatever he wants. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Rival Schools too. Like, I haven't heard of that a lot, but, like, you know, you'd think that they would have been nicer to Mega Man.
Yeah, because Mega Man was like a big franchise for them, but they just, you know, they let it squander, basically. They're just kind of like, nope.
Poor Mega Man.
And we have everything advertised. Everything is advertised. Yeah, everything is just moving so
And
slow
you
today.
have this featured for new people?
I have it featured. I have it everything. I really think this is the reason. Because it keeps saying, your shorts underperformed today badly. And that could be why we're being penalized. So what we need to try to do, guys, is we're going to put the Akuma short in there. We need you guys to click it as much as possible. Because it hasn't moved from 600 views since like 8 hours. I think that's part of the reason why we can't get any people in our live stream, is YouTube's not promoting our channel at all today. They just have like red marker all over our channel that we're doing so bad today. It's like every hour they remind you, hey, your Akuma short failed. You should probably fix that or re-upload it. So, it is. Because, I mean, I checked it, was it 2 hours ago, and it was still at 600 views, so that means it hasn't moved in 2 hours. That's bad. So, after this race, guys, I'm going to give you the Akuma link. I'm going to need you to click it as many times as possible. even though we have 30 people here, that's 30 people with an army. So 30 people clicking that like 10 times each, that should definitely help that short, you know, come back to life. Because we're not going to be able to go beyond 40 people in the stream if we don't get that short fixed. That's probably what that means. Whoa! I was actually using a website to help with description and other things, and now that that thing wants us to pay like $20 a month to use it, it's like, ugh. So I'm gonna find another AI YouTube channel description generator, and the tag thing I think works really well. The tag one is a different site, but this one guy, I thought it was too big a treat. He opened a website, and then now he's saying, "Oh, you've already exceeded your 3 videos that you used to write use my program to write the description." So it's like, wow. But now I understand how that guy makes money on Twitter. It's actually really smart.
You were like part of the free trial for him.
I didn't even... Nowhere on the website did it say free trial, though. It said, hey, if you want additional help, you can sign up for my YouTube course for $150 a month, or whatever. And I will blah, 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 help your channel directly. And then on top of that, he's charging people to use his generator. The problem is, I mean, the easy solution is there's so many websites with free YouTube channel description generators, so you don't need to use that guy. But it's just, to me, it's funny. It's like, he has advertised all over his website to join his, like, seminar. And on top of that, he's going to charge people to use his keyword generator, which anybody could really easily make an AI generator. It's not hard. I just don't have the technical knowledge. But, like, I see so many people doing stuff with that. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys the Kuma short, and let's try to get as many views on that as possible over the course of this stream. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you see that link, click it as many times as possible. Even though there's only 30 of you guys here, like I said, you guys can move a mountain. I don't know where the rest of the people are, but, you know, we're going to make do with what we have. And thank you to Leo for covering, essentially, the revenue for this entire stream. So, God bless you, buddy. Thank you. Alright, guys, click the Kuma short. Alright, so Dry Bowser succeeded what he was doing. Crazy. Let's say Brewster. Let's say Nintendo system. Just writing a description. YouTube popped up and said, hey, if you write a description, a detailed description will help with search with the stream, because the stream is underperforming. It's like, just get out of my business, please. What do you think of this? Welcome to Road to Mario Kart World, your ultimate destination for thrilling races, expert tips, and the latest updates from Mario Kart Universe. As we hype up Mario Kart World for Switch 2, playing every Mario Kart game that released on Nintendo systems. Join our vibrant community of fans as we dive into exciting gameplay, share strategies, master every trick, and explore the newest features and characters. Subscribe now to stay ahead of the competition and fuel your passion for racing.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah, I just wrote all that.
Wow, it's pretty impressive.
I mean, it's just based on all those, like, YouTube AI generators that they all say the same stuff. So I just basically made my own version.
Luke is becoming a robot.
Yep. I think so. Oh, it's gonna go. Come on, monkey. Make my time code, please. Yeah, it's gonna crash. It's not even gonna save my work. Nope. Save. Okay, it saved my description, I think, but it's still not letting me. Still not letting me do it. Okay, so we are going to the next booster one. So we're gonna keep with Dry Bowser because reasons. Let's give him a cart though. I'm gonna make things harder for myself. We want to see him in. There we go. Why not? That works. Okay, so we're going to Feather Cup. Yeah, it's totally your system crashed. No, really?
Luke is having a great day today. Thank you for the help, everyone, Vic and everyone watching and helping. Thank you, Captain Zach. Thank you, everyone for watching it. Shadow Trooper and OH and Alexis and everyone. Thanks again for the super chats, Leo the Conqueror and, Robo, Azure Robo.
Alright guys, let's do a raid on that short again. And then we'll start the next race. The short now has from 666 views, it's at 686. So... let's see, what is Dry Bowser's story? Is that what you're asking?
The little Blanca plushie is so cute. I like how Akuma is doing the one-handed pull-up. It's insane. This guy is like crazy.
Okay, so Dry Bowser is a skeletal, undead version of Bowser that appears in a few Mario games. He's often depicted as Bowser in skeletal form, so think like Skeletor. He falls into lava and loses his skin, basically. And that's Skeleton Bowser. So, I think he made his debut in 2006 in the Nintendo DS. Like, New Super Mario Brothers, but I don't remember. So he's appeared every once in a while. That's essentially your Dry Bowser lore information.
Thank you for that lore, Luke.
I mean, somebody asked about it, so I was like, okay. I mean, you guys are watching the short, so, I mean, least I can do is, you know, kind of throw you a bone, so to speak. Ha! But yeah, we gotta get that Kuma short up. I
feel like that information was good, but it's a little bit bare bones.
I know, it's a little dry. Let's go, Bowser. Let's go. Oof, I picked kind of a bad car. Well, no, I think this is okay. It's going to make the race more interesting because I'm in a heavier vehicle now.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to make things a little bit more dicey, but, I mean, it gives people a little bit more of a challenge. Hello, Link. How you doing today, buddy? He's like, no, that's Amber's tea, you little Philistine. Why are you shaking off your paw? Did you get wet or something? Like, maybe. Maybe. Alright, don't go for those arrows there. That's a trick. You want to go for this way. What I don't like about the Mario Kart Tour stages is they're so confusing. Ugh. Like, I crash all the time.
Well, that makes sense.
Ah, crap. Oh. I don't think Skeletor Bowser makes any noises. Because, you know, a skeleton doesn't have a voice. Not sure how Skeletor... Well, Skeletor is able to somehow. Because he has flesh on his neck, I believe. It's just his face that's a skeleton, so...
Oh. Well, actually, did you know? I know a fun fact about turtles.
Oh, no.
Their shell is... Like, you probably know this, but their shell is, like, basically their...
It's armor.
Their spine. Like, it's like it's their bones. It's connected to their skeletal system. It's fused to their back and their skeleton.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like separate from their body, but it's not. It's literally connected to them. Like if you would have like the skeleton of a turtle, it would include the shell. It's part of their skeleton.
Yeah. Would Dry Bowser sound like Skeletor? Ah.
I don't know. Possibly.
I don't think so.
I know how. I like watching turtles eat fruit. I know what sound a turtle makes when it eats.
Okay, so they're not counting. This is another trick, guys and gals. So, YouTube is not counting the clicks on that short because the views haven't raised at all. But we have another way to trick the system. So, YouTube Shorts is a whole separate, like the playlist is different than clicking the individual short. So, let's have people open up the Shorts playlist, and that will add collective views to the short that's not moving. So, as I've said before, this is basically how I've come to this theory, because I haven't been proven wrong with it yet. During the first 2 hours that a YouTube short comes out, it's imperative that people click it as frantically as possible during the first 2 hours. After 2 hours, YouTube no longer counts the views the same way that they did during the first 2 hours. So, when the reason why we get a short that does so well at 11 o'clock is because you guys are frantically clicking on it for like over an hour, and that's how it easily gets like 500-600 views, and then over the course of the remainder of the night until 8 in the morning it'll finally hit 1,000 views. But the same method of clicky click after it's already been out for 2 hours doesn't work. But there is a way to fool the system again. It's called the YouTube Shorts playlist, because what happens is with the playlist is you're adding more organic views, and YouTube's like, wait a second, this playlist is generating views for all these shorts out of nowhere, so then they'll start to promote the short that you just released. That's how it works.
Interesting.
It's a very complex system, but there is a way to cheese it. You know me, I like to cheese games, so cheesing YouTube is something that I find a lot of joy in.
You like to stick it to YouTube.
I do like to stick it to YouTube. They've basically made it so hard for me to live stream. You know, I don't really care about the ethics involved with how shorts work. I found the loophole. I'm gonna squeeze it dry until it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep. So run the shorts playlist in the background, guys and gals, and that'll help Akuma like hit over 700 views. It's been stuck at 666 views for like 3 hours almost, which is creepy. Creepy, creepy, creepy. Well, let's see. On my first break, I'm gonna have some Lucky Charms.
Looking forward to that one.
I am. I'm gonna put the dishwasher on, and I'm gonna have some Lucky Charms.
It's the little things that
It is the little things. It's what keeps me going. Looking forward to stuff. Otherwise, just staring at the views
I
during
did
the break
open.
is
I
crazy.
opened your box.
You opened a new lactate?
Yeah.
Did you finish the old one?
I don't know where the old one is. Must have been in the back of the fridge.
Maybe. Okay, so I'll try to finish the one that I had opened. Oopsies. That's alright. Ow. Owzers! The banana has a smiley face on it. For reasons.
Banana slammer.
It's funny. Xenoblade was doing so bad, but it was doing so well in terms of fan funding. But it was such a chore that I'm still not able to finish it yet. Like I'm almost at level 60.
Well, if you need me to help you grind, I can do that.
I'd love for you to do that, but it's too complex. Like your robot only has a certain amount of fuel. Once your fuel is out, then you have to go to the field where there's a gas station. You have to sit there for 30 minutes or longer and wait for your thing to slowly fill up with gas. And while you're doing that, then the game is harvesting more gas for you to use later. But you only, instead of, it's not like you just get to go fight and, you know, repeat the same level over and over again, so it takes less time to grind. What's taking so long is you get 7,000 experience, you get to fight 2 times with your robot, which goes towards your next level, but you don't gain a level every, 2 skirmishes. It could take 3 or 4 or 5 skirmishes, but you can't do that consecutively. You have to wait until your robot refuels, and that takes forever. Hi, buddy. You coming up? He's thinking about it. Hello, Mr. Link. That's what I don't like about Xenoblade, is it takes forever to grind. Ah! Oh! Because I would have finished that game like 2 weeks ago. I'm not, because I don't want to bring the series back and then lose again. Because I've spent all this time making the character stronger. It'd be such an embarrassment to me. Be like, oh, it's the finale, but I can't finish it again. And it's like, I guess we'll try next month. But the thing is, I'm going to be so busy with the Switch 2 that I'm not going to be able to dedicate all this. Like, I at least dedicate about an hour a day to trying to level up my character in Xenoblade, and it takes like 2 or 3 days to hit 1 level. At like a few hours a day. It's insane.
Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah, just for fun, I did something in Suikoden for 15 minutes and my character leveled up again. 15 minutes. It's nuts.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
It feels like it. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
No, little gamer cat is next to you.
Yep, Linky's here.
I should take like a little video right now. Don't need it anyway, but gamer cat. What do you think, Link?
It's like, I'm being exploited. Yup, you're being exploited. Did you see their cat fight yesterday? Yeah, there was a cat fight last night I filmed. But they didn't really hurt each other. I kind of got in between the two of them, and then I found a way of distracting Link so he stopped attacking Zelda. You know what I did?
What?
I took his little toy and I was playing with him, and then Zelda just went back to grooming herself underneath the little umbrella thingy there. So I called Link an ADD cat because like he was all feisty with Zelda, and then I took his toy and I started playing with him, and he stopped attacking her. He focused on playing the toy, and then he, as soon as I shut the camera off, he snuggled on my lap. And I was sitting there playing Xenoblade while I was waiting for the last night's stream to get close to starting. After running the music for an hour and 15 minutes, I only got 360 views before I started. So it was the worst performing mystery stream I've done in quite a while.
Sorry.
Like, I'm starting to wonder if the startup music really works or if it's the be right back thing because people constantly come back to check to see when it's starting with the BRB. But if it says it's starting soon, I think that's actually hurting things. But I don't know. Because I feel like the be right back thing tricks people and they constantly come back to check to see what's going on. But the starting soon thing, they're like, oh, it's not ready yet, so they leave and then they come back later. I don't know.
Somebody is warm.
Link, don't lick my armpit. That's weird. Why would you do that? What purpose does that serve?
Maybe it has salt in it.
Yeah.
You like salt.
I'm going to do an experiment today. Instead of doing the starting soon music for Fantasy Life, I'm going to put the be right back thing on and see what happens. It's just an experiment.
Everybody says that Link has orange cat energy.
Orange cat energy for Linky? So, let me ask you guys a question. Like, do you think the be right back thing drives more views than the starting soon thing? The starting soon thing took me like a day to put together. But if it's not working, I don't want to make it like 4-hour streams for us to do our job. That's not going to work. Do you constantly refresh when it says be right back, or do you... Because I think a lot of people leave when they see the starting soon screen. But I need to, gauge the audience because I don't know.
I thought everybody liked the starting soon screen.
I know, but I've noticed the difference between the starting soon screen and the be right back screen. When we were doing be right back, there were 60 people waiting because they thought the stream could start at any time. And then with the starting soon, there's 20 people waiting. Whether it's a mystery stream or a regular stream, which negatively impacts how long we have to wait to start. Because before, when we did the BRB was a 30-minute wait time. The starting soon thing, I've noticed it's anywhere between an hour to 58 minutes or longer.
Okay.
That's just how I work.
So what? Oh, what CCs are you doing for Dry Bowser?
Dry Bowser is still 100 CCs. Uh-oh. It's just a theory, OH. Everything I do is based on data.
Luke always changes things up just to see if it... He's like a scientist.
Yeah, everything is an experiment, everything is a theory until it's proven. Well, the description kind of helped. Sort of. View results.
Yeah, YouTube didn't used to be this crazy.
I mean, but the super chats calmed me down a little bit because at least I know, oh, we can get something from this stream. So it's like it did calm me down immensely. Wow, he's out already. He falls asleep faster than you do, babe. He's gone.
He's such a cute little kitty.
He is out, ladies and gentlemen. He's done. He's like, I found a place to sit, and I'm done. Whoop.
He feels calm.
Yeah. He's out of it. Well, there's lots of things, Timmy. There are people that will live stream, and they found a way of like basically boosting their stream numbers so that they get more people in with the hopes of getting super chats and members. But the views aren't real, but it makes their stream look better. Whereas we go with the organic views, so we actually get paid for the live streaming, but now we have to stream longer to get anywhere close to it. So some days it drives me crazy because I have to work more than I ever have before, and then I have to come up with all these like ideas on the fly about how to make things work. And it's like a couple years ago, even after the pandemic, live streaming was always a simple fix. Like, the reason why we stopped doing uploads is because uploads weren't getting viewed and we weren't making money. So then we're like, okay, we're going to live stream for about an hour and a half, get 1,000 views, boom, get paid. No editing anymore, no long start times, just boom, in there. And now live streaming is almost kind of mimicking upload problem from like 4 or 5 years ago, but it's not as bad as the uploads, because the uploads only get a few hundred views. Every once in a while, like a news video, if we're lucky and a lot of promotion, the news video will get above 1,000 views. But that takes like 12 or 13 hours of work behind the scenes to get that video to get noticed, because we're shadow banned. Like, a brand new channel with 40,000 subs can upload a video and get 200,000 views, because they're not constantly pushing against the algorithm that has them blocked, basically. This is Cherry Cup? Cherry. Whoops. Cherry Cup. Los Angeles, Sunset Wilds, Koopa Cape, and Vancouver. So, Tour, Game Boy Advance, Wii, and Tour again. Okie doke. It's pushing up to 120 frames on Switch 2, because, people have complained that Switch can only do 20 and 30 frames per second, and even some of the 60 frames per second games don't work. So the reason why Nintendo is boasting that it can go to 120 frames, is it really going to? Probably not. But the system will never, drop below 60 frames, which even a lot of PlayStation and Xbox games, they're at 30 frames per second still. So the fact that Nintendo will have more games running at 60 frames per second, is great, but I very much doubt that there's going to be a lot of games that will be able to run at that 120 frames per second. They're saying their system is capable of it. But basically you're going to have 60 frames per second 4K. And that's better than Switch 1. So I wouldn't worry about too much of the specs too much, because it doesn't really matter. As long as the games play well, that's all people are going to care about. As long as you have fun playing the Nintendo games, that's why people buy Nintendo systems. If third-party games run a little bit better, cool. If they don't, Nintendo's not really a third-party system anyway. The reason why I always buy Nintendo is it's for the exclusives. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Smash Brothers, that kind of stuff. If I want to play, I don't know, Elder Scrolls or whatever, I'll probably get it on, PlayStation or Xbox. Depends which version runs better, and depends what's in my budget. With Xbox, there's several games that Amber and I can get that are part of Xbox Game Pass. We already pay for Game Pass, so we don't have to, buy the games or whatever. Mm-hmm. Whereas Sony, Sony might have a game that will have to, Fantasy Life has been kind of a bust for us because, we had to pay $70 for it. We haven't made that back yet in 5 episodes. Not even close. It's going to take 20 episodes just to pay back the game almost. Or, well, maybe 10. I am mad at YouTube, though. On May 12th, they started doing that new thing. They said they were going to put, like, ads on videos that purposely had no ads. So my video talking about that controversy thing on the O1 channel that I said I wasn't going to monetize so people could hear my voice, I checked it the other day and there's ads on it now. And I went to disable the ads and I couldn't.
Oh, wow.
So now, even the Adam West video and the Kevin Conroy tribute all have ads now, and I can't do a blasted thing about it. There's nothing I can do. They've removed the content creator's ability to take away ads from, like, non-monetized videos.
Oh, wow, how did you... Oh, you look cool when you're all inky and black.
When I'm all inky and black, I'm like Tar Dinosaur.
So, do you like Dry Bowser? Do you think he's a fun character?
People voted for this character yesterday. So I'm just doing what the public asked me to do. They were like, hey, I want to see Dry Bowser. It's like, okay.
Keep the public happy.
Well, I'm only on 100 CCs right now. So, like, I'm going to be mostly playing as the baby characters once we get to 150 and Mirror and 200 CC. Well, they're lighter.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, tomorrow I'm probably going to put Inkling or, like, another Animal Crossing character on the thumbnail. But things are going to start to get really dicey. Like, this is the last time I can play as a big character. I played as a big character yesterday. Because tomorrow will be probably the last of the 100 CCs, and we're going to move into 150. You have a friend at work who's angry about Nintendo suing Pal World? Yeah? Game Boy Advance. Well, I mean, there's some third-party games that work really well on Switch, or Switch 2.
Yeah, I mean, some people that... And I think, like, people that don't have a PS5 or a Xbox Series S or whatever, I think they usually get stuff on Switch.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to playing Street Fighter, the special edition or whatever it's called, Street Fighter 6, on Switch too, because, you know, Street Fighter and Nintendo have a long history. Some of my most favorite Street Fighter games that I ever played were on the Super Nintendo. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter Alpha 2, that kind of stuff, yeah. Street Fighter on the Game Boy Advance, Street Fighter 3 Max, it's good. It's Street Fighter 4 on Nintendo 3DS, it's pretty fun, you know? Mm-hmm. So, of course I'm going to get Street Fighter on Switch 2, and the fact that Street Fighter on Switch 2 is cheaper than some of their $80 games, I mean, that's incentive right there for people to pick up Street Fighter 6 as well. It's like, yeah, it's almost a two-year-old game, but Capcom's giving you all the DLC, and so it means you can play as Terry and Mai and, like, all, like, Fighter Pass 1 and 2.
Oh, wow,
for
nice.
$40, I believe it is. The whole thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a deal. Actually, maybe it's 59. I don't remember. I'd have to check. It's not 80. I know that. And there are, like, the Bravely Default game is $39.99 for Square, but is only available on Switch 2. They're not re-releasing it on PlayStation or Steam. It's a Switch 2 exclusive as far as we know, because it was a 3DS exclusive. Makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
But if you really think about it, gang, the Nintendo Switch 2 doesn't really have 23 brand new games. They're counting 23 games at launch, but most of those are ports of Switch 1 games. There's like, out of the 22 or 23 games, only 15 have never appeared on a Nintendo Switch console. That's it. So there were 9 games that released on Nintendo Switch in 2017. Out of those 9 games, 2 of them were ports from the Wii U. And with the Switch 2, you've got 23 launch titles and only 15 never-before-released games on a Nintendo system. That's it. Now, there'll be more games in June, but a lot of them, again, are ports of Switch 1 games.
Dry Bowser looks really cool in that desert-themed thing that we were in.
Yeah, he works. Any improvement whatsoever on Akuma. Okay, yep, see? That works, gang. That's what it is. So run the Shorts playlist. Akuma now is at 710 views from 666. So that worked. Great job.
Nice job, everyone.
Mm-hmm. Whoops. Down. Bowser. Actually, he still has Bowser's growl. Yeah, he does.
Growl.
He does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Raw.
I don't remember him making a lot of noise in the where he fell in the lava and died and came back. I don't remember Skeleton Bowser really saying anything. He was just creepy and he made bone noise.
Yeah, bone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess he wanted to go over to his couch. And that is Link's couch, by the way, guys and gals. That is totally Link's couch.
Yeah, thanks for the recent comments over on the Akuma video, guys and gals.
That helps out a lot.
We've got, let's see, our newest comments over there. Yeah, guys, if you guys are just coming to the stream, we're trying to get the Akuma video up. So, Sammy Bear King, Alexis, Sonic, Latergator, Blues Cat, OH, and Elizabeth Shirley all commented in the last hour. Thank you for your help, everyone.
Did you see, honey, how well... This was a DLC cart. This is the Mercedes.
Yeah.
So this was originally DLC. This is paid for stuff on Wii U, which we couldn't get to work on Wii U. But remember how much I was struggling with 100 cc's and stuff like that, and even 150, like playing in-game unlockable cars?
Mm-hmm.
This was DLC, and I'm just cruising. It's got great handling, good traction, good speed, good acceleration. Even though I'm a big, fat, like bulky character, like I'm floating on glass in a sense. Like I'm not having any problems.
That's really neat, Luke.
Yep.
So you think the DLC cars are really good then?
Of course the DLC stuff is very good, yeah. Pay to win.
Pay to win.
Mm-hmm. Of course. 100%. Yep. There we go. Oh. Have I watched the Mercedes commercials for the Mario Kart back in the day? Yeah, I remember them.
I didn't know that Mercedes had commercials.
Creepy AI face Mario, like 10 years ago.
Oh wow, creepy.
Yeah.
Sounds weird.
Although it was more like computer generated. AI is so freaky now. Like, there was a video that was making rounds on Twitter that was making Hollywood really mad. And they had almost every genre that you can think of in a 2 or 3 minute thing showing what $1,000 AI software can do. And I couldn't tell the difference between reality and AI. No, they did every style. Before, when AI would talk, like 5 years ago, you could tell it was AI. Because there would be times where the voice would mess up. Now it's like, they were doing, they were just saying, we can talk now. Yes, we can talk. And what are we going to talk about? I don't know what to talk about. And they have inflections, they have mannerisms. And then they started being like, all right, now we're going to show what we can really do. They mimicked like a 1940s thing. We can talk now, doll. Of course we can. You know, so they were doing all the, they did a black and white movie, they did an action movie, they did a musical where everybody was like talk singing, you know, that kind of, yeah, it's all AI now. And the program's $1,000. It's like you can make anything with it. It's insane. I was like, there's no way this is real. This has to be actors. And they said the entire thing that you're about to see is all AI generated. Everything.
Oh, wow.
And it looked like some of the stuff was like, wow, this reminds me of watching musicals when I was a little kid at my grandma's house. It's spot on.
So they made it look exactly like that.
It sounded like it. It looked like it. The dialect, the accents. They showed a samurai, like a wandering Ronin guy in Japan, like a Japanese drama.
Oh.
Filmed it exactly that way.
Wow.
They did a Korean drama skit for like 30 seconds. They did a bus skit. They did like a movie thing. Sci-fi, everything.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And then they made the AI angry because they were saying, what are they going to have us talk about? I don't know! They're getting like, you know... it was just, that's the whole skit though, is they're just talking about, we can talk, what are we going to talk about? It's creepy! But it's like, I was even thinking I would much rather see an AI movie over a Hollywood movie, because it's like, I can program it to do whatever I want. Like, I don't, if I don't want like activism garbage, I don't have to have that in my script at all, and the actors will just, the art will just continue to get better and better, because if human actors are going to basically act like psychopaths, same thing with anime, like what's the point of having them like make this stuff anymore?
Yeah.
I'm going to be very surprised if somebody doesn't make an AI movie in theaters in the next like 4 years or something, or even before that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense though. It would be something people would, I mean, it'd be so much cheaper than spending $100 million or $800 million on a movie. Spend $1,000.
Something like that.
Like for the AI program. I mean, if I was a Hollywood producer, I mean, I would just film like very few scenes with a few actors, and then send them home, and then do the rest of the movie with AI. Fill in the entire movie with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could save so much money.
So 58 people have watched Akuma in the past, let's say 30 minutes. So, good job, guys and gals. The problem is, you know, I always thought that we were going to see movies and art like improve as technology got better. And what happened is the technology improved the movies, but the social constructs is breaking apart. So people are being insane now. Mm-hmm. And Hollywood is basically killing their own art form. So if AI can save it and make entertaining things again, you know, I don't really like Hollywood actors anymore, personally. They're all psychopaths. And so, I don't know. I don't really know a lot of Hollywood actors these days anyway. And the good ones don't get jobs because of political differences. And it's just, you know, if AI is making the entertainment going forward and it's entertaining and it's well made and it's good stories, you know, I don't really have a horse in the race, personally.
Right.
Like, I want to be entertained. I don't want to be preached to.
Yeah, like, why defend an industry that's full of selfish people that you know, don't have any moral standards anyway. Well, like, if they were actually trying to, if they were trying to create heroic stories for the betterment of humanity so that they could be good examples to people, it would be one thing, but the fact that that's not what they're doing at all actually means that basically why should we look out for Hollywood if they haven't looked out, they don't have the public's best interest in mind. Why should we have their interest in mind? Why should we help an industry that's literally the degradation of society and causing all kinds of problems?
It would be one thing if they would actually try to change, but they keep, like, when Hollywood stumbles and they do something bad, then they double down and they make it even worse. It's like, they weren't as bad before, they were subtle about something, now they're super in your face about it. And the problem is, they're so behind, too. Like, a lot of the trends that are happening right now, there's this huge pushback against activism. And yet in Hollywood, they're still pushing activism like it's 2022. So all the new shows and movies that they have coming out are so dated based on what's happening in the world right now that it's just no one wants to go to the movies. You know?
Well, I think in general, like, anytime the industry itself is prone to people being crazy, because anytime you have, you know, your whole job is just people to film your face and for you to look good on camera and sound good and everyone likes you. You know, that whole idea of being an actor is based on being prideful and narcissistic. Everyone has to look at you and you're on display and everyone has to like you and say you're amazing. I mean, the whole idea of being an actor in general is prone to make you prideful and not a good person. So, I mean, you know, pride cometh before a fall, so you're gonna, you know, you have to be to work in Hollywood and to not be a terrible person. You have to be a better person than normal people. To constantly have your face filmed and not let it go to your head. You actually have to have better moral character than the average person, because the average person who's filmed 24/7 and having everyone look at them and saying how great they are and how pretty they are and how amazing their acting is and how great their voice is and look at me, look at me, look at me. That an average person put through that and being filmed all the time is going to fall, and it's going to become evil, and it's going to become selfish, and it's going to become crazy. Most normal people that are filmed on multiple movies are going to become crazy because it's not normal. You're going to become prideful.
Well, I think that, like, I mean, there are good actors and there are bad actors, but the problem, and when I mean bad actors, I mean, like, basically, like,
Bad
propaganda
people.
Yeah. So, the problem is the good people, they don't get a platform. It's the people that are propagandists that get the platform. And, you know, most of these people that are freaking out about AI, they're the propaganda people anyway.
Yeah, but I think it's really up to the public to decide. Like, they need to decide. I mean, they need to not... If they have an actor, if there's an actor that's a horrible human being, you know, that cheats on their spouse and who's very prideful and narcissistic, then... Like, I don't know what you heard what I said, but if there's an actor who's not a good moral person and is, you know, cheating on their spouse and all this stuff, you know, the public needs to start taking them into account and not watching their movies.
But it's
you have to hold them to a higher moral standard.
The reason why I think that AI has grown as much as it has is because more or less the rest of the world is tired of Hollywood. I think that the fact that the technology has jumped this much in 5 years, when there isn't even any video games that look as realistic as AI does, that's freaky to me. It's like, you could always tell, like, before, like, a couple years ago, there was AI images, or not AI images, there was AI video. You would be able to look at the person on the street doing the microphone or whatever, and they would have, like, 6 fingers, or, you know, they might, what was it? What was another thing? Their hair color might look a little bit different. Like in one scene it was blonde, and the next scene it's kind of reddish blonde or something like that. There were subtle things that you could see that, okay, you know, why does this person who's holding the microphone, it's a girl, one of her arms is hairy and the other arm is behind her back and it's completely, you know, girl-like.
Yeah.
6 fingers, you know, all this other stuff. Sometimes a third nostril. You would be able to tell things by looking at it.
Yeah, that doesn't... There was stuff that looked really off.
Now with the new stuff that just dropped yesterday, or not yesterday, I think it was this week, everybody is looking at this and they can't tell it's AI anymore. Even the experts. They're like, this is scary.
I mean, it's not, I mean, but... No offense, but like Hollywood is fake anyway. Half those people have plastic surgery.
No, I'm saying
most
that
most of them aren't good people. They pretend to be good in real life.
I'm not defending Hollywood. I'm saying Hollywood did this to themselves.
Oh, I know. I'm saying that they've always been fake.
They're not. They haven't listened to their consumer base for 10 years. They're set in their ways to push an ideology that everyone is rejecting. They're trying to push segregation. Society is, you know, rejecting that because that's stupid. They're doing like all this like hidden messages in their movies. They're not even trying to be subtle about it. They're actors when they are grandstanding at films. When they're supposed to be promoting their movies, they're promoting propaganda. Whether it's like some war that they have like some interest in or whatever, you know, they're doing everything opposite of what their film does. And what this does is this creates a division with your audience, the theater, and the star. And it comes to a point where people don't want to support that actor anymore because they don't like them. And they know that every time that actor is going to get on stage or they're going to promote their movie or they're going to sign autographs, they're always going to make the focus about something other than what they're supposed to be doing, which is promoting the show, promoting their character, talking about their character. And we had people that grandstanded in the 90s and the 80s, but everybody looked at those people like they were crazy, like Sinead O'Connor. Mm-hmm. You know, what she said about the Pope and all this other stuff back in the 90s.
They just looked at them like they were insane.
They were like, this person is, you know, grandstanding and all this other stuff, and it sacrificed their career. But
they became a joke.
Right. So what's happening, though, is the rejection of these people, the bad ratings, for like 3 years now, Hollywood films, for the most part, have all been failing. You know? Mm-hmm. Even the Lilo & Stitch movie, which was supposed to be an instant billion, and it probably still might, but Lilo & Stitch fans are very upset because they changed multiple things. So it's coming out now that the Nana character, the sister who bent over backwards to help her sister throughout, you know, the entire movie. You know, she sacrificed going to school, whatever. Right. She was always there for her sister. Now you find out that the sister, who was such a controversial casting, even though she is Hawaiian, she's not even in the movie that much. She goes off to college, and she essentially has the neighborhood raise her sister.
So they completely changed the entire plot.
change.
Oh, I know why they did that. Because it's not female empowering to be sacrificing for your family member.
I think so, yeah.
And they talked about that in the in Captain Marvel movie, where the mom said, you know, like, oh, well, I've been sitting here taking care of you, and Captain Marvel was like, she's like, well, if you really cared about your daughter, you would have left her here so you would do your own career, and so you could show her what a woman is worth. It's like, no, what? Where? Like, what kind of demonic stuff are you promoting? Like, you're saying if you really care about your kids, you abandon them so they can tell when they're older that they, you know, they're worth enough to abandon their own kids in the future? That's crazy.
But you know why they do that, though? Because the best way, if parents are not involved in their kids' lives, then the state and the school can warp the children to whatever they want. It's an open canvas for them to do whatever. If the parents are, you know, working and they're not around and they're...
Well,
it's very easy.
I have heard that a lot of this woman and female empowerment stuff was started by people that were trying to get women out of the home so that they could have more access to brainwashing kids. In fact, I heard that on an interview from a government person that talked about that.
Well, think of it this way. If your parents aren't involved in your life and they're not home anymore and you have a rough day, who is it as a child that you get close to that you see as a mentor and you see as like almost like a parental figure for you at school? It would be your teacher or your guidance counselor. Exactly. And if those people are corrupt and they're crazy, then what are they going to be, giving that child? Like when they go to school.
In fact,
they'll be turning them into mini versions of themselves.
I mean, not to get too freaky, but
it's true though.
When I was in junior high, I had several girls tell me that the school nurse helped them get an abortion, and they purposely didn't tell the parents at all. Which actually, if you're under 15, you are supposed to be telling the parents. It's like the law. You cannot legally do that. So the school nurse illegally got several girls an abortion without the parents' permission.
That's a shame. I really liked that nurse because she helped me with my ulcer medicine in high school.
Maybe it wasn't the same nurse. I don't know.
I mean, there was only one high school nurse.
Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah.
It's like, because that's actually, not only is that morally wrong not to get the parents' permission, but it's also illegal.
Yeah, it makes me look at that nice old lady a little differently because she was the one who gave me my medicine in high school.
I mean, it could have been, maybe there was a different person. Maybe there was
the school didn't have that budget. It was right outside of Chicago. Yeah, that's a shame.
But I'm just saying, just to give you an example, how people can get involved in their kids' lives without the parents' permission. That happened.
Yeah, but getting back to the whole AI thing, like, a lot of this is society's fault because there is a outward rejection of what society has been pushing for the past 10 years. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take a while for Hollywood to accept that because they're still pushing a dead agenda. Like, they're still, all the new shows and movies that are coming out. There's even some weird stuff in the upcoming Phineas and Ferb remake that's going to really alienate the public. To the point where Phineas and Ferb's, like, big comeback might actually get canceled.
It's gonna, you know what I hate? When they take a classic series that didn't have anything political in it, then they add politics into it later when they remake it. You're alienating the entire fan base to the point where that fan base was ready to buy all those products. Now they no longer want to hear about that franchise at all. It ruins the taste of the franchise for them. Like, I mean, Star Wars was like that.
Star Wars was $1 billion franchise, and now it's only a $500 million franchise.
Like you were saying, how there's a disconnect between the audience and the Hollywood, though, but they said that the Kardashians had to deal with that a while ago, like 10 years ago. The Kardashians, I was watching something about this and saying that they actually had to change a lot of their shows and stuff because their reality, what they were producing, their show of their, flagrant just overspending and narcissism of just spending all this money on themselves and only caring about, like, oh, I just need to get my nails done for the 5th time today or something stupid like that. Nobody wanted to see that during the pandemic because people didn't have any money and they were getting very annoyed with them. And I think that they had to, like, I believe the Kardashians, that's why they had to try to change. They had, like, publicists try to change their image. I think they tried to do stuff like volunteer, and so they were trying to change because they realized that it was completely, nobody wanted to see, there was a time in the early 2000s and, where everybody was showing off, what do they call it? Like, where you show off your $300 pair of headphones and stuff, like, forgot what it's called, but
flexing?
There's, like, yeah. So that was, like, the Kardashians started in flexing culture, where everything about them was like, look at my $1 million house, look at my $1 million shoes, look at my $1 million dress. Everything was about flexing. And then people got very annoyed at them because they did not have any money. Like, the people watching them were actually angry with them because they were literally flagrantly spending when people were literally going homeless. So, I mean, there's that too, but I know what you mean, like, where it's not only that, but also like the moral, like most of the United States is actually much more moral than Hollywood.
Of course.
Hollywood does not represent a cross section of the American people in any way. And most people are not that evil that Hollywood people are.
The thing is, what makes me sad is, like, I grew up with, like, so many different types of, like, seeing film evolve. And to see film evolve backwards, it's just disheartening because, like, I mean, what made me move over to Asian entertainment is just how degenerate and, like, poor quality the films have become. The writing is a pale comparison to what writing in movies was 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. The writing in films today is like Chat GPT or something. It's really bad. It's like they write the script and then they make sure they sprinkle in their ideologies and their agenda, like, in it, and then the AI thing writes their script. That's what it feels like. Because, like, there are parts of the films that are just so out of place that would never have happened 20 years ago, 15, 30, whatever. The film's always focused on the story of the characters or what was happening with the characters. Like, there was literally a movie about a tornado. The tornado was the star of a film, and the characters were revolving around the tornado. Like, everything that was happening to them because of what the tornado was doing. And that is a better movie than most of the stuff that releases today. It has better acting, it has better pacing, it has better music. And it's a movie about a stupid tornado destroying everything.
Yeah, well, the problem is that they're not writing from their heart or with a passion for writing for a story. They're writing just to get views. They're just writing just to get money.
It almost feels like it's reactionary based. You know what I mean? It's like they're doing something to get a reaction from people, but
they don't have any passion for creating a good film. You know, they're just writing to make, you know, they're just trying to do a formula to create a movie.
But it's just funny to me because, like, I mean, I wouldn't say I was a film student, but, like, when you watched a Western movie in the 50s or the 60s, you knew what you were getting. It was a good story that you may or may not like because you might not be into Westerns, but there was a good guy and a bad guy, and there was some type of thing that happened involving the cast of characters that worked in that setting. If you had a war movie, it was a movie about, you know, what was going on in World War II or World War I. There was no indication whatsoever that they were going to interject 2020's philosophies or ideologies into it at all. It was a war film set during that time period. If it was a sci-fi movie, it was set in the future where the things that were happening today were not being showcased in what was, you know, happening in the future. They had their own thing. They had their own sci-fi characters. They had their own plot, their own history, their own prejudice about whatever, you know, based on how aliens look, or these aliens are bad, these aliens are good. Even though these aliens look different, don't judge them based on their appearance, you know? These are actually the good guys, even though they look hideous, and these people that look like they have everything together, they're the bad guys, you know? But today it's not like that. It's like everybody has completely ignored all the building blocks of entertainment for 50 years and flushed it down the toilet in less than 15 years.
It's like the old movies and shows had the moral of the story, something they were trying to teach that was supposed to be the betterment of society, or something that makes you think about things in a different way.
But here's the thing,
from
honey.
Like an artistic perspective.
Go to Japan, watch any show that's out right now in 2025, and then go back and watch a show from like the 90s or something from Japan. You can see that the art style changes and progresses and it evolves and gets better. But the storytelling and the way that the characters act and behave, while the technology gets better, the core aspect of anime is everlasting. It's the same. The stories might change and some of the tropes might change, but for the most part, 50 years later, anime is still the same as it was with Speed Racer.
Yeah, but honey, not understanding that Hollywood is a bad place.
Yeah, I know that.
It always has been, and it.
I'm just saying I'm disappointed in Western culture because like we were the leaders for so many things of entertainment and you know fun and we've just completely missed the plot, so to speak. It's like
Yeah, but honey, you're missing that there's always been corruption in Hollywood.
I know.
It's just not been as prominent. Now it's actually coming out so much more.
It was subtle.
Yeah,
Subtlety
but
was good though. To an extent.
But it was always bad. You probably, as a if you were you probably. I mean, there's been stories since the 1940s about people having to compromise their morals to get a part in Hollywood. It's been going on for quite a while. They just didn't have those immoral ideologies in the films, but it was always behind the scenes.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
I'm just saying.
I'm aware. But there's a lot of exciting like shows that I'm watching right now, and all of them are from Asia. Like every single one. Whether it's a romance show or a show about alchemy or a show about even watching a cooking anime. I haven't watched a cooking anime in like I don't know 5 years because just I don't know, it's not my genre, but I really like this one. This one is about a girl who has a bakery. You know, there's no romance in it. There's nothing. It's just her and cooking and hanging out with her friends, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I watch that when I'm eating food or something because it makes the food go down better or whatever, you know.
Okay.
If it's nice to have on in the background, is what I'm saying. And if I really want to watch something exciting, then I watch like one of the magic shows that's currently available right now. Or yeah, like a sword and sorcery thing, which is kind of fun. But I won't be watching Phineas and Ferb's come back and Amazing Gumballs coming back and all this other stuff. Because it's just like, it's not the same anymore. And I feel bad for the Doofenshmirtz guy, the guy behind the show, because he tried for years to get the show back. And I feel like he had to, he had to lower his stance on things in order for his show to come back to life. And I feel horrible for him because the dude's a family man and all this other stuff.
I don't follow any of what's happening. So.
Oh, I've been following Doofenshmirtz on Instagram for years because he's really funny. The guy behind Doofenshmirtz is the creator of Phineas and Ferb. He's both the voice actor and the creator behind the show. And the creator of Perry the Platypus.
Well, I'll tell you what. If he had to compromise his morals to bring the show back, then I mean that's really his choice.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, he could have chosen, if he really wanted to stick by his morals, he could have just chosen the obvious choice, which is I'm not gonna do that because that compromises my morals, and I'm not gonna bring the show back. People can always say no.
Yep.
They can always say no.
You just have to get good people in positions of power, but it's always bad people.
You're contradicting yourself just by saying good people, positions of power. That's a contradiction. Nobody in a position of power is good, generally. As soon as you get a regular good person in power, they're going to become corrupt once they get power. Power always corrupts people.
Over time it can.
Honey, I don't think you're thinking normally about things. I guess I have a disagreement with you then.
Okay, that's fine. You're allowed to disagree. So I am under the water right now. Okay, good. I actually had to take a break there. That's good. That's very good. So, like I said, I'm going to experiment with the BRB thing. I'm going to see if it makes an improvement for Fantasy Life, because I don't want to do a $5 Fantasy Life stream. After 2 hours, I get kind of like
Well, thank you for telling me all your thoughts about that. I appreciate that.
Well, you're my wifey. I tell you things that I find interesting. There's no like. The only major debates happening right now is people are fighting over the Switch 2, like constantly. You have like I've never seen this amount of animosity toward a Nintendo launch that I see on Twitter. Like, all these different people are always fighting about the Switch 2. You have pro Switch 2 people and you have con Switch 2 people. And when the Switch came out, everybody was kind of like all on the same page. Like, I might buy it, I might not. I loved my Wii U and Nintendo didn't support the Wii U. That kind of stuff. But with the Switch 2, based on the prices, like, Nintendo fans are kind of like almost at a civil war with each other. It's really weird to see because usually the most united fan base on the internet in terms of like, you know, companies is Nintendo fans. And for the first time, it feels like in like 30 years, Nintendo fans are kind of at each other's throat. Like, always like going after each other for quote-unquote misinformation or you're a bootlicker, you're all this weird stuff.
Honey, I don't think that's Nintendo fans. Those are those grifters that tried to pretend that they were Nintendo fans so they could get money off of their stupid videos.
Oh, no. I'm not even talking about grifters. I'm just talking about people on Twitter. There's no videos. These people are...
Well, that's because they were riled up by those grifter people.
The grifters are currently talking about, they're still milking Renee Zellweger and whatever her name is. I don't know. The Snow White thing. And they're currently going after...
Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, Rachel Zegler. They're currently going after Pedro Pascal because he said some pretty spicy stuff. So they've been making tons of videos about that. But I don't watch those people. I see the thumbnails and I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's going on. And they're making fun of James Gunn's Superman all the time.
I know, honey, but you have to realize that those YouTubers are riling people up and telling Nintendo fans to hate each other. And everyone's listening to them.
I'm not.
I know, but you're asking why people are angry at each other. I'm explaining
No,
to you
I didn't ask why. I'm just saying this is what's happening. I'm reporting the news.
But you said you're confused about it. You said, I've never seen it like this.
Well, yeah, because I have.
But that's not really them. It's those people riling them up.
Because, like, when Wii came out, there was a group of people that were making fun of the Wii, but Nintendo fans were like a link chain that was all like, yeah, we know that the graphics aren't going to be very good for the Wii, but...
Well, I think people that didn't buy a Wii or Wii U were not true Nintendo fans, so they have no leg to stand on. There's no reason for people to be like, oh, I'm a real Nintendo fan, but I didn't buy a Wii U. Well, if you were a real Nintendo fan, you would have bought a Wii U because the Wii U was a great system. So you don't have a very good taste in games system, so therefore you're not an actual Nintendo fan, are you? Because if you were, you would have gotten one.
What I do like, though, is like all those people that said like the Switch 2 was going to be like the Wii U. Nintendo essentially released the sales data for the Switch 2, and it's not going to be the Wii U. So
yeah.
that was funny to me to see all these people peddling stuff like, oh man, the Switch 2 is going to be just like the Wii U. It's going to have like a strong start, and then it's just going to fizzle out. It's like, no, it's not. It's like people have been waiting for a Super Switch for like 5 years. Everybody always asking, Switch Pro, Switch Pro.
I do see the videos online, like Reggie, and like people keep putting Reggie's face and saying like, he was right, this will be the downfall in the system. It's like, I have never heard Reggie say that it's going to be the downfall of the system. Like, that's crazy. Like, I think they're putting words in Reggie's mouth. Because he never said that. He said there was some concerns, but he never said it was going to be the downfall of the system.
Yeah, I see a lot of YouTubers using Reggie's face and stuff and saying that Reggie warned the game industry about going this direction. No, he didn't. Reggie said, and people are like quoting Reggie out of context. Reggie said, like in his, I think it was like last year, that price changes in the game industry all the time. And he says at Nintendo, I made sure to keep prices affordable because I knew what the generalized consumer would be able to afford.
Yeah, he never said it was the downfall of Nintendo.
He never said, he says, you have people at Nintendo that, and he is right, there are people at Nintendo that aren't gamers anymore. They are businessmen. He says, you know, I had a background in gaming because I was a gamer. Iwata was a gamer. Miyamoto was a gamer. He says, but you have to understand that companies change over time. And the same people that, he says, I would love to keep working there, but I sacrificed 20 years of my life, and my kids all grew up. I want to spend time with my grandkids and my wife, so I can't be the Nintendo president anymore. I want to enjoy the golden years, basically.
Yeah.
I have other things I want to do.
Right. So the only reason why he's not working there is because he wants to spend time with his family, not that he hates Nintendo.
No, he doesn't hate Nintendo at all. So people, they use, like, Reggie being like, oh, Reggie got out before it was bad. It's like, no, he didn't. Reggie timed his exit for when, you know, I think his kid was graduating high school is when he quit. Or when he retired, you know. And another, his youngest was graduating high school, and his other son or daughter got married and had a baby or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, Reggie wants to be... Reggie, back then in 2019...
Wants to be Papa Reggie.
He wants to be Papa Reggie, exactly. And I think he should have that.
He wants to be Gramps Reggie.
Right. What Nintendo needs is better leadership, but, like, you need to have somebody like Reggie, but you don't necessarily need Reggie to come out of retirement to steer the ship.
There has to be more than just one person that has a reasonable approach to pricing than just Reggie.
But the thing is, the board of directors has always been against Iwata and Reggie's methods. And the board of directors chose the replacements for Reggie and
so they chose
Iwata.
what they want.
Right, exactly. And they had businessmen that are going to do business decisions.
In their mind, I mean, a lot of the fans' mind, oh my gosh, Nintendo's falling off. But in the Nintendo's mind, you know, they're happy with their choice. They don't see it as falling off because they don't want to be the affordable system. They want to make money.
Well, it's not just the affordable system. Like, again, Japan has never understood the MSRP in America. Like, they don't get it because they don't use that in Japan. They don't use a price scale system. They use variable pricing on anime, on manga, on whatever they feel is a valuable product. They price according to what they think has value. Or what is going to, you know, in turn, like, there are actual manga in Japan that is very expensive compared to other manga.
Oh, wow.
The really popular stuff is more expensive. The really popular, like, Blu-rays are more expensive than... They sell $40 Blu-rays in Japan, but they also sell $100 Blu-rays for popular shows.
Oh, wow.
With less episodes. And people buy the ones that are more expensive because they want that quality product.
Supply and demand, like
exactly
whatever has the most demand.
So, when the public, the problem is we as a gaming public got so accustomed to lower prices since the N64 that everybody always assumed that the prices would continue that way. And the game industry for 15 years has been trying to raise the prices. In fact, they have raised the prices every 10 years.
Yeah, it's just that it's like if you just, every time you go to the store or something, they're like, oh, here's a free muffin or something. And then the one day they don't give it to you free anymore, you're like, oh no, I can't deal with this. You're not having free muffins here. I'm so upset. It's like, but it was free to begin with. Like, it was a nice thing to begin with. Like, it wasn't guaranteed. Like, we should just be thankful for the years where the prices were lower. It's not going to be like that anymore. They had the prices lower for everybody, and that was nice.
Well, Reggie had a genius background in marketing. Like, every company that Reggie went to, according to his book, like, every company that he worked at prior to Nintendo, they were all companies that were underperforming. After Reggie left, those companies improved because he saw himself as a fixer. Mm-hmm. Nintendo was in very bad shape, and Reggie was a huge fan of Nintendo growing up. So when he had the opportunity to work for Nintendo, he wasn't even vice president yet. He came in as, like, the head of their marketing department first, And his very first E3, he had a small position like Bill Trennan did in the 2000s, or the 2010s. Like, Bill was kind of like the number 2 guy. Reggie, even though he had, like, this huge charisma and everything on stage for, like, E3 and GDC and stuff like that, he had such a very minuscule position, but he was brought in to help improve the PR and the marketing of the company.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Iwata was upgraded to, Nintendo president, I think it was 6 months after Iwata was put as CEO, he upgraded Reggie from 2 positions under because he liked Reggie's vision.
Yeah.
And Reggie is an idea guy, He's worked at so many different, like, tech companies and, like, magazines and things like that, and he improved every single one of them.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. So it's like he had a lower position, but he actually was a larger-than-life personality. You
can't argue Reggie's charisma. Like, Reggie, even today, like, I can't think of anyone in the game industry that matches Reggie's excitement, his charisma, and his intensity for gaming. I can't name one CEO because
he's like a rock star.
Doug Bowser is very articulate, but he's not very fun. Like, Bowser knows what to say at press events and what to say during interviews, but they're just words. When speaking to Reggie, it felt like you were talking to a gamer. And you can't train for that. It's not possible. You can't. You have to experience the games for yourself in order to be able to talk like a gamer. You can Wikipedia stuff, you could use like an AI script as best you can, but certain things that you talk about are going to be very telling, that you don't know what you're talking about. With Reggie, that never happened. And sometimes when Nintendo wasn't doing well, you could kind of understand Reggie's frustration, but at the same time, Reggie was a professional. So, like, you would try to catch Reggie on a bad day, like when Wii U wasn't doing well, but he would always have a smile on his face, and he would always talk about what's exciting with the 3DS. He would find ways of shifting your attention away from the negative into the positive. And that is what made him an incredible CEO. Like, bar none. And the more I watch these people, the only person that I think of, honestly, who would do a good job as, like, an interim president at Nintendo would be Bill. I think Bill Trennan, he started at the very bottom, like, getting coffee, and then he did localization, then he was, like, the head of Treehouse, and then he was in marketing. Bill is the guy that should have gotten Reggie's job. Doug Bowser isn't the guy that should have got his job. That's just my personal opinion, but...
Yeah.
Because I like people to get rewarded based on their merit, like based on their actual skill. And, Doug comes from an EA background. And EA is kind of like the villains of the game industry. In a sense.
I'm trying to get some of my stuff I need to get done. I don't know how much longer you're going on this stream.
Yeah, of course.
What time are you being done with the stream?
I hope to start Fantasy Life at 7.
What are you going to do for the next hour?
I'm going to do the best I can to get Mario Kart to be successful. Yep, I still have more 100cc's left. This was the booster stuff. Now I go back to the retro courses now. This was all the booster. And I think I got gold stars on every single one of them, actually.
That's very interesting.
Pretty incredible, actually.
Yeah, thanks for sharing all that.
I mean, the Jessica, Museum Tour isn't a starting game. Museum Tour was a PowerPoint presentation that somehow made its way into a software. Like, the amount of stuff that I've heard about World Tour or whatever it's called, Welcome Tour, it's like getting a game manual in the 90s. It's chock full of information, and it's not something that would be a lot of fun to experience at all. And how that made it into an actual game, nobody knows. Most of the people who play the game are so bored with it that they can't even see paying $10 for it. And most people even wouldn't want it as a free game because it's just so bad. Like, a pack-in game like Wii Sports or Mario Kart, or not Mario Kart, sorry. Mario Brothers Deluxe or whatever. You know, those were, as Reggie used to say, fun right out of the box. You know, they might look a little weird. The gameplay is very charming and it's fun. And you have something to do with the system as soon as you buy it. You know, it's like right there, boom. Wii Sports or Twilight Princess or whatever, you know? The Welcome Tour, it feels like it was made by people who are out of touch in the game industry. That, you know, think that people just want to sit there and look at exhibits and do a lot of reading on the internal specs of the system and how the fan works. And, you know, it feels like it was made for nerds, basically. It wasn't made for gamers. Because gamers, they expect a certain type of quality with the product that is going to give them, you know, not just replay value, but something to enjoy from the thing that they bought. Because gamers do buy things. That's what makes our group so unique. That's what makes us, like, better than a lot of different media, is, like, gamers, we may complain about stuff, but when push comes to shove, if we really like something, we support it. You know, that's how the game industry became, like, a billion-dollar industry. Unlike movies, where people boycott the movies they don't like, they don't, and then they tend to boycott, like, Hollywood in general, so Hollywood is suffering. TV is suffering, but gaming is always doing well. Because gamers always support what they like. And yeah, there are some game studios that go out of business, and some of it's their own fault for making, like, you know, terrible games and pushing ideologies and agendas and stuff like that. But for the most part, gaming is a thing that people who enjoy games, they buy them. You know. Love you too. So, the idea with Welcome Tour being this essentially like NES or Super Nintendo game manual, it kind of shows to me that either Nintendo's EAD department or their, you know, software designers or their marketing people have no idea what they're doing with every single thing that Nintendo releases. And Nintendo had a lot of creativity and innovation once. But what happened is they saw how easy it is to basically do the Sony thing of remastering everything. And they're going to be doing that for a while. They didn't even announce how many games were going to get remasters and re-released, or how many free updates there was going to be. Right now at launch, we know that there's going to be 12 free updated games from Pokemon to Mario Odyssey that'll all be 4K improvements, right? But if you think Nintendo's only going to do those games, they're not. They're going to essentially try to get people to buy $10, $20 for a lot of their Switch 1 games that they want people to buy again in 4K. They essentially want to do like the Last of Us thing. Yeah, go for it, honey. And the reason why they're doing that is because they believe that that's what the market wants, that gamers will continually buy remasters and reimaginings and reports of games they already paid for. That way they don't have to, you know, make as many games. Like, look at all the new IPs that are coming out this year for the Switch 2. From what we know right now, there's only 4. And really only 1 or 2 of them is actually a brand new IP, like that wheelchair racer thing. Whereas when the Switch came out, you know, all those years ago, Nintendo had 9 IP games during the first year of 2017. 9. And out of those 9, 4 or 5 of them were brand new intellectual properties. Some of them were repeats, like Mario and Zelda and things like that, but there was also some new stuff. What we're seeing with Nintendo right now is they're being gun-shy with the new stuff. Now, I believe that with the Switch 2, there will be a Nintendo Direct in June, And I think we're going to see some new intellectual properties that Nintendo's keeping close to the vest. And, you know, they'll probably showcase some of them. But I don't believe that we're going to get as many first-party non-ports in 2025. Like, I don't see that happening. Because I honestly believe, based on marketing trends and the type of people that are working for Nintendo right now, which are businessmen and marketers and board of directors, we're going to see a shift in how Nintendo does things, and that shift is going to go back to how things were in the 90s. And with the price of games and with their, you know, strategy for sequels and things like that, we're, you know, seeing a lot of similarities to that. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just, it's different. Those of you that were born during the Wii generation, you got to really experience Nintendo's innovative years for the Nintendo DS, 3DS, Wii, Wii U, things like that. And what my generation basically dealt with was the next Nintendo system with extra steps. First it started with 8-bit, then it was 16. Then 16 became 32, then 64. So they were constantly chasing, like, the graphical upgrades of the game industry. And then they kind of, like, with GameCube, they stopped for a while. And now with Switch 2, they're kind of chasing that 4K, you know, 60 frames, 120 frames per second type market again. Will it work out for them this time? I don't know. I can see trends, and I can see patterns of the past coming back, and I can also see that the leadership at both Nintendo of America and Japan are eerily similar to what already happened and failed in the past. Because it did fail, eventually. Iwata and Reggie were brought into... They were earth shakers. They changed the norms of how the game industry was. They didn't continue the same, okay, we're just going to make a system with better graphics and we're going to charge through the nose for it. They were like, that's not working. We need to innovate. We need to change the industry. And that's what Wii was. That's what DS was. That's what 3DS was. Wii U. And the Switch, you could argue, was like the baby of all that stuff. It was like, you know, the continued idea with that. But with the Switch 2, it's just the same thing again, like going from like PlayStation to PS2. It's just more enhanced and it has more bells and whistles. Now it has a camera. Now it has game share or whatever, you know? So it's... If you study this kind of stuff the way I did as a journalist, you can see that patterns continue. There are patterns in film. There are patterns in video games. There's patterns in marketing. True, dumb motion controls, Goki, but Nintendo made bank. It's still hard to believe that the Wii sold like over 100 million. The Wii outsold the PS3 and the Xbox 360. And both the PS3 and Xbox 360 were great systems with great games, and the Wii outsold them. So Nintendo's plan of reinventing the wheel worked. It wasn't until 2009, like several years after the Wii came out, that they were actually able to have the motion controls do what they wanted with Wii Motion Plus. But by that point, you know, Nintendo Wii's novelty has basically started to wind down. Everyone who bought a Wii already bought a Wii between 2006 and 2007. And maybe 2008. In 2009, it was kind of too late to be like, hey, we have like motion controls that work now. It's not just waggle. It's actually thought put behind it, and it's one-to-one motion. But I mean, a lot of people at that point, you know, they went and they bought PS3, or they went to PC, or they went to Xbox, things like that. And of course, it wasn't long into the Wii's life cycle that the 3DS came out. So, you know, Nintendo pretty much abandoned the Wii by, I would say, around 2009. Reggie tried really hard to get Arkham which was the biggest game of 2009. He tried really hard to get Arkham by 2010 on Wii, made by Red Fly Studios, I believe. and it didn't work out. Instead, the Batman IP went to Way Forward Technologies, and they gave us the Batman Brave and the Bold game, which was a fun game, but, you know, it's not what Reggie wanted when he asked for Batman from Warner Brothers to appear on a Nintendo system. Reggie actually didn't get his Arkham game until the Wii U. He got 2 Arkham games, though. Arkham City and Arkham Origins. I went PC for a smart person. Haha. That's fine, Goki. But, you know, no one can argue the success of the Wii. You can argue that the Wii U was a flop, and it was. The novelty of the motion controls had worn off. People did not like some of the gyro-based games on the Wii U. They hated the name of the system. And third parties were very disappointed in Nintendo's lackluster sales that they kind of abandoned ship. After 2013, there were very few third-party games that released on the Wii U between 2014 and 2015. It was only first-party IPs and second-party, and even those games didn't perform well. And it's true. Sometimes the gimmicks don't work out for Nintendo. They just don't. Sometimes they do. But sometimes, you know, it just... the trends don't work. Everyone got a Wii because it was exciting new technology, even if the games were all waggle-based. Like, it brought in a whole market that was untouched in the game industry, which was the casual gamers. The new players. I only think that, in reality, probably 30 million gamers bought the Wii. Maybe. The rest was all new audience people. The fabled modern audience that Hollywood chased was actually, you know, people who'd never played gaming before. Nintendo called those people casuals, but Iwata called them new players. They were the new player audience. Yep. New player was a lot better. Yeah, it was a better wording than casual, because casual is kind of like a, I wouldn't say a derogatory that we gamers use, but it's not a very welcoming term that we'd use to new players. Noobs, casuals. New players was a more, we'll say, modest way of welcoming new players. It was a more tame, like, kind of respectful, like, polite way of describing casual. They don't really use that term anymore, though, like new players. That was an Iwata thing. Because Iwata was polite? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The game history is very interesting. The only history people won't remember years from now is activism. That will be a speed bump that was a part of our industry for like 6 years, and then it's just going to disappear. It's just, it breaks my heart that so many game developers ended up being like sacrificed by these weirdos. They hijacked their games, their companies, and then they just went the way of the dodo. That to me is sad. It's never fun when a long-term game developer ends up losing their way and ends up like getting infested by cockroaches. It's terrifying. It's sad. Because I honestly believe a lot of these people at one point in time, they had a lot of love for gaming and making games, and they listened to bad direction and bad actors, and that caused a lot of problems. Oh, also fear of, what the repercussions for not doing what people said, And we know now, like, all the dirty things that these consultant agencies did to people. Harassment campaigns, smearing, threatening, all kinds of stuff. And basically, it was no different than working with, like, organized mob, these people. And they weren't gamers anyway. They came from the comic book industry, and they came from film, and they came from television. You can even read in their bios, most of them weren't even gamers to begin with. They just wanted to change gaming because they saw gaming as toxic and problematic. Most of them had never played a game in their life. These people who ended up becoming writers in our field and people who, you know, brought in censorship and all kinds of stuff. They're not even gamers. They're tourists. But the problem with us is gamers are very welcoming. Like, because we were an ostracized, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? We were a persecuted group. Like, everybody would always blame gamers for the ills of society, so it was very easy for us to be a very welcoming, but, you know, we have to kind of change our ways and lock these people out because they're going to be the death of our industry. They will. 100%. And some gamers are realizing that, too. Some gamers are realizing that not everybody should be a part of our, you know, our industry because they're bad. Yep, being too nice makes you too easy to manipulate and control. That is 100% true. Yep. Yep. Sometimes, you know, they say that the best that... Oh, what is a word? What is that old saying? The best... That's it. Hell is paved with good intentions. That's basically what it is. It's like we had, you know, we thought that we could be very welcoming to certain groups and allow them to come in and be in our workspaces with games, and that they would just, like, work alongside with us. We'd make great stuff, and, you know, we had good intentions, but we were naive. We were 100% naive. Yep. What cup is this? This is, we're on banana now, right? Yep. Banana! $2.59. A trauma bond?
It's called that in psychology, I believe. Trauma bond. Trauma bond is like you bond with. It's like a person that is like very like two-faced or manipulative or preying on somebody else. They will notice that somebody else is wounded, and they'll use that to like latch onto that person and create a bond with them. But the bond, that person is ready for a friend because they're like, oh, this person wants to be my friend. But in reality, that person is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They don't want to be your friend. They can see you're hurt, so they're using that against you. So I feel like it's almost like a trauma bond in psychology, the way that these activists came onto gamers, because gamers, you know, obviously, like you said, have been like rejected, like in the I'm just thinking like the Splinter, or not Splinter, Shredder, where...
The outside world has rejected you.
No, I was thinking more like Shredder. You were here because the outside world rejects you.
Yeah.
So he pounces on that. He gets kids that are not having a good relationship with their parents, and he gets them into stealing. I mean, that's the ultimate.
He turned them into ninjas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how activists are. They're preying on people that are, you know, trusting and ready to make friends because, you know, gaming is a way to escape from.
I wouldn't say that. Gamers, what we wanted to do, and what we did, you grew up playing games, you then, when you were an adult, if you were lucky enough to get in the game industry, people wanted to take what they loved from their childhood and make it better and cooler with their ideas, with their new gameplay mechanics, their new stories, their edgier things, their sexy costumes, whatever. They wanted to bring their vision and their passion, continue to make gaming flourish. And what happened for 6 years is non-gamers came into the space and they brought all their weird ideas that were being pushed in comic books and movies at the time, and they expected and demanded those be implemented into every game. And if you did not do what they said, then they would use methods to make you pay for it.
I mean, just listening to that sounds like they're bullies.
Of course they're bullies.
You know?
Of course they're bullies. But if you would turn their logic against them, then they would, private their Twitter, and they would do all this other stuff, and they were basically cry bullies. They would attack people, and then when the heat came after them, they would private their stuff, and they would say, I need to step away because gamers are so toxic, they're attacking me. It's like, you were attacking us first! If you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. You brought the war to your doorstep because you attacked us first.
Honey,
I'm just saying.
Down.
I'm saying. It's
I'm
like...
just saying, I know, but... I mean, it just shows that they're not good people because as soon as
Of course they're not.
The mirror is turned on them, and when people, turn it around and say, like, well, you're doing this to me, because it's easy for them to accuse other people, and then you turn it around and say, like, well, you're using this manipulative tactic, and you're bullying this developer, and you're harassing this person. What kind of person are you? And then they get upset.
It's the vampire effect.
Then they're suddenly upset. Like, oh, you're attacking me. It's like, actually, I just held a mirror. I just explained to you what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting that no one really attacks them. They just explain to them what they've been doing. It's almost like they can't face themselves.
Yep. So
they can't face the reality of what evil people they are.
In the 2000s, game developers were so close that everybody was friends. When these activists came in, they created division where, like, now there was almost like a separation between companies where they no longer hung out, or, we don't agree with what you're doing with this, and how dare you not have this in your game? We have this in our game.
Yeah.
And before, people would always just be kind of like, you would see it at PAX. Like, people would hang out. You'd see indie developers at each other's booths.
It didn't
matter.
Nobody cared. Like, nobody cared if there was a female representative in the game. Nobody cared. It didn't matter. Because your main character could be whatever you wanted it to be. A male, a frog, whatever you wanted. It's your game. You're allowed to make it the way you want.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, like...
Then they started pushing it. At first, they started being like, we're so, stunning and brave for putting a girl character in the game. And then it all spiraled from there to the point where now you had to put a representative of everything in your game, to the point where you couldn't even make your own game anymore because you were so busy worrying about what people were going to accuse you of. You might as well not even make the game.
There was a developer that left the game industry he went indie, but he was working with Ubisoft and some other people. He posted a list in 2021 about what was required. You know how we joke around that there was a checklist?
Wow, so there really was a checklist.
There really was a checklist. And when he posted that, he got doxxed, he got attacked, he got
why? He's just showing what was actually
right. It's the vampire effect. Like, the vampire doesn't like it when you show them that they have no reflection.
No, when you hold up the mirror and they have no soul.
Of course the vampire is going to get mad when they don't. Yeah, when you outs them, like, hey, look at this. Look, the vampire has no shadow.
In psychology they say
no reflection.
I mean, I've never actually they say never expose a narcissist because they'll turn on you angry, and that's exactly what it is. You're exposing the fact that they're demons.
But I kid you not, like in the late 90s, the early 2000s, even the 2010s, just about the game industry was such a small place. Like, in terms of, like, everybody knew each other. If somebody worked at Sega, they knew people at Nintendo. If you were an indie developer, and there's guy on the other side of the PAX East, and then you have the other indie developer in the opposite direction. They're friends.
But the way to actually think through this is, like, what would be a normal human response for that? Like, say I was part of a company and I was pressuring other companies to include, I'm trying to include, say I was an activist and I'm like, hey, you need to include, this many black characters, this many gay characters, this many female characters, this many frogs, this many this, and I demand you do this because it's really important to me. Now they post it online. They're like, this is what Amber asked of me. This is what she asked of me. This is what she told me I had to do. Now, my normal human response, if I was not a crazy person, would be, wow, I just realized that was pretty messed up. I guess I was really a jerk to you. I'm sorry. That would be a normal human response. But the fact that their response is to dox them further and harass them further shows that they're not normal human beings.
The best way...
It shows that they're crazy and evil.
Right, but the best way to turn public opinion is when you start to dehumanize people. When you would, you know, be kicking people out of the game industry and saying, this person has the wrong politics because they're evil. This person we fired because we don't agree with them over this or over this common sense thing.
Yeah.
So they would use language that would prevent the person who had a different political opinion from actually not only defending themselves, but also being able to be treated as a person.
They label them like, this person is one of those.
Yep.
So we're going to shun them and they're not going to work in the game industry anymore. When in reality, they're not one of those. They're just a person with a different opinion.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah.
See, that's sensible thinking, but these people don't have sensible thinking.
Actually, that's exactly... I was hearing somebody talk about that word. That's exactly the word they used for Jews in 1930s Germany, was when they started to dehumanize them. So that people wouldn't see them as human beings. That way it was easier for people to rationalize killing them. That's exactly how the game industry is going.
It's the same tactics, it was just different rebranding. Instead of, like, you know, yeeting people or unaliving them, you were kicking them out of their jobs, you were making sure that they self-deleted, you know, all kinds of stuff. It was same tactics,
like,
just
it's okay to
different flavor.
It's okay to harass somebody in their business because I'm dehumanizing them. They're one of those. They're this category.
Yeah.
I'm going to call them, you know, the horrible names that they call everybody that they disagree with.
So the only reason that gamers stood up to this, because we, as, like, I consider myself a film fan and a comic book person, but we never fought the corporations. We never fought the opposition. We just allowed it to happen. Things got so bad in the game industry that we did fight back, and we did win because we stood up to them. And now they're the ones out of the job. Now they're the ones that are being run out of the industry.
Like, I hope that they don't get... I hope that everyone learns the lesson and they don't go to any more industries. I hope that it stops here. I mean, it has to stop somewhere because those people are insane.
And the thing is, we could take comic books back. We could take the film industry back. But the problem is, like, all those other fandoms are not as strong and united as gamers are. Because gamers, eventually, it's like you're constantly being poked and prodded by people. Eventually, you snap. Like, the other people are just kind of like, you know, we're just going to let it go. It can't get any worse from here. We're just going to allow it to continue. And then gamers are just like, enough! You know, this is what? How many years now? 4 years? After 4 years, people stood up. And it took 2 years of fighting. But we won. And we're still winning. But the problem is, it takes a while to see what has happened. Because as I've said before, game development takes time. All the games that will be... And you know things are changing because...
So someone should write... Oh, yeah.
And people... This is the difference. 2 years ago, that Snow White game that's in development that's basically like Chainsaw Lollipop with Snow White running around in a miniskirt. Right. 2 years ago, that game would have been doxxed, would have been shut down... And people would be, like, saying all this horrible stuff about it. And, you know, those developers would be out of a job.
What?
They're releasing their game next year, and they are in a Western country. So that's how you know the tides are switching back.
I was just thinking, you said for so many decades, people have always blamed the gaming industry for ruining society.
Of course they have.
You know what's hilarious is that, ironically, the gamers were the only ones who actually defended sanity for society and probably saved, like, Western civilization.
And we'll never be thanked for it. They're still making, this is the thing, they're still making articles about gamers being, like, the danger of society, and we're the ones that crushed the head of woke. And we're not getting any credit for it.
Like that.
We're not!
Gamers are like that lone Ronin that saves the town and then the town chews them out and is like, get out of here, we don't want you here, even though they saved everyone.
It's like that Ninja Gaiden game. The one where Ryu had his hand was corrupted by a demon. He was going around, he saved everybody, but no one would let him, like, stay where he was because at any time he could become evil, so we have to chase him out.
So you get no credit even though you did actually...
Right, so gamers were responsible in 2024 for basically crushing the head of this cult, and we're still being attacked by people.
Yeah,
Still!
They'll never understand that they were the ones that were true cowardice. They were the ones who allowed this cult to continue, the cult of activism. They were the ones who allowed it to continue in movies and TV shows, in comic books, in, you know, in every single media and industry. They allowed it to continue.
And it will continue in those other industries because they don't have a backbone. Like, it will continue to some degree, it will continue.
Well, then...
Even though they lose billions of dollars, they'll still do it in movies and TV.
Well, then they...
Because there's no saving it.
Well, I guess the only thing that gamers can be thankful for is they'll reap their reward, which is having their industry back.
Yeah, but, I mean, the industry is never going to quite be the way it was. Like, you're not going to be able... It's like when you have a parasite latch onto you. Like, think of, like, Spider-Man. When Spider-Man was attacked by Venom in the beginning, and he had the symbiote, part of the symbiote, even though he cast it out, there were still aspects of the symbiote that remained inside of his blood. You know, it's there. Like, even though this will be a dark chapter of our industry, like, there will be people that remember it and even defended the time that it was like this.
They don't comprehend what actually happened.
Right. So it will always be like I'll carry the scars from it.
It's like if you have surgery, like I did, and I had surgery and I had to get things cut out of me. I'm always going to be in pain there. Even though I got it cut out of me, I didn't die. I survived, but it's going to hurt forever. I mean, I'll be okay, but it'll be much better than if I didn't get it cut out, but it's just always going to affect me.
It's so annoying to me, like what we as a united global entity, like a global force of people, because there are people in Asia and people in Africa and all these other places that did not want all this globalization stuff that America was pushing. They hated it. And, you know, everybody got together and, you know, we stamped it out. But now there's all this stuff, and I don't know if you heard about this, but there's stuff going on right now where they're trying to pass certain violence laws against, like, certain types of, like, content in gaming and censoring anime and stuff like that. It's
wow. So it begins, now the circle begins again.
Right, now it starts over again. So it's like before, they never stop because in their mind, they believe that all of society's problems is because kids play video games, and then adults play video games, and then elderly play video games, and all the violence of the world is because of gamers. Even though statistics have proven that gamers are not violent. You show them all the statistics going back 40 years, and they're still set in their ways that everything is the gamer's fault. You know, we let social media go crazy with the memes and all this rhetoric. It's all the gamer's fault. And it's like...
Well, it's an easy target. I mean...
It is.
I mean, if you're gonna pick... I mean, if you picked on Hollywood celebrities, they could sue you. If you picked on... You know, if you picked on big movie stars, they could sue you. You know, gamers can't really sue back because they're just regular people buying games.
Gamers are just regular people that buy games, yeah.
So you can't really... They're an easy target, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a bummer. Alright, well, we finally crossed over to 1,000 views, so that means the stream is done ski. If you guys have a particular character you want to see tomorrow, let me know. I'm thinking of Inkling. Or I'm thinking of... I don't even know all the characters in this, to be honest. Let's see. Because we still have a little bit left before we dive into 150 CCs. And as you can see, 150, mirror, and 200 CCs was never done in this game because we were too busy back when this game came out. Even when it re-released on the Switch, we never did. So, like, all this stuff, I'm going to try to get every 3 stars. I don't know if I can promise that. I think once we get to Mirror, it's going to get nasty. But we still have a couple, like, 100cc things left. You guys could do Kamek tomorrow. You could do, I don't know who that is. Peachette? I forget her name. Wiggler, PD Piranha. Oh, that's a nice-looking Mercedes. I like the red. Birdo Red, Pauline. Pauline could be one. I think she would be a good trending character. The Monkey, Diddy Kong, one of my favorites. Isabel. Male Villager, Male Inkling. Gamers are like Kirito. I like that. That's a good analogy. Yep. That makes sense. The normal people tried to get rid of Kirito and blame him for, you know, clearing that thing for them. And then in order to protect everyone, Kirito had to act like the villain. So basically they try to paint us as the villains of society when actually we're the reason why society is going to heal. It's so funny. It is hilarious. But that's just how it is. Oh, if you guys are asking about new emotes, YouTube says we have to get 46 new members in order to unlock a new emote. It's not enough to have the 350 members. They said we have to get 46 more. We're close, though, but I don't think it'll happen. Gamers are like Kirito, yep. Yep. Alright, so anyway, Fantasy Life is next. Mario Kart will continue tomorrow. How much were we able to do for Akuma now? So Akuma's at 750 after 10 hours. Ouch. Where are we hourly? Ugh. Alright. I gotta jump off, guys, get the next stream started. And all that fun stuff. I'm gonna open up the poll for you guys picking the character on Fantasy Life, so go vote over there. And I will see you there in a little while, okay? I'm gonna change things up a little bit. God bless, happy gaming, see you in a bit. And thank you to our super chatters.